wrapping up. If there are no other questions, thank you. George, last question then.
One last question to Ms. Abu Zaid, if I may. Do you think, and I realize you can't know this definitively, but do you think that the population at large, I don't know what the state of their or the existence of their media are there, but do you think the population at large are aware this was all commenced by their present Hamas government's unilaterally terminating the truce and firing relatively huge numbers of rockets? I understand there were 50 fired on Saturday the 27th alone. Do you think that they are aware of the fact that this was at least initially the result of actions by their own local government?
No, I don't think that they think that the truce was violated first by Hamas. I think they saw that the Hamas had observed the truce quite strictly for almost 6 months, or certainly 4 of the 6 months, and that they got nothing in turn because it was supposed to be a kind of a deal. If there were no rockets, the crossings would be opened. The crossings weren't opened at all. So, and then before Hamas started shooting any rockets, of course, there was a targeted assassination of a number of militants. There was an incursion to attack a group of militants, and 7 people or so were killed. So then the rockets went out, and that was sort of the breakdown of the truce. So again, I say it's always difficult to know the beginning or the chicken or the egg or whatever it is. You mentioned the 27th. That was after the incursion started and the attacks started, because what we understood here, that there was a 48-hour lull to be called on. This was called by the Israelis. They said they would wait 48 hours. That was on Friday morning, I believe, until Sunday morning, and that they would then evaluate. And there was only 1 rocket that went out on Friday, so it was obvious that Hamas was trying again to observe that truce, to get this back under control, and then everything broke loose on Saturday morning at 11:30. We were all at work and very much surprised by this, and then after that was when the rockets went out. So, it's in one of those conflict areas that it's difficult to tell who's doing what first, and we sort of can tell something here, though, that what's being done proportionally and disproportionately.
All right, thank you very much. Karen, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Max, for joining us, and thank you, Mr. Holmes. Have a good afternoon.
The Associated Press reports that Israel obliterated symbols of Hamas power on the 3rd day of what the defense minister described Monday as war to the bitter end, striking next to the Hamas premier's home and devastating a security compound and a university building. Meanwhile, the Bush administration called today for an end to the new flare-up in Mideast violence, saying Hamas once again shown its true colors as a terrorist organization with attacks on Israel. White House spokesman Gordon Jondro said Hamas had chosen not to renew a 6-month ceasefire. Coming up in just a few minutes.
If this were a dictatorship, it'd be a heck of a lot easier. Just so long as I'm the dictator.